And we're live. Hey everyone, I'm Marco. I'm one of the code mentor here at the Firehouse Project. And today is actually my birthday, so happy birthday to me. And I'm super stoked that I have you guys here at my birthday and info session. So let's get started. What are we covering today? So there's three big topics that I want to go through. First one is run you guys through our core curriculum, how we customize that curriculum, what we do for entrepreneurs, what we do for job seekers, tell you guys about all the technologies, all the things that you're going to learn, what we're going to do with algorithms, what we're going to do with the Rails framework, how we teach you Ruby, all the technical things. Then I want to go and jump in and talk a little bit about the support system, right? We have one-on-one mentorship sessions, we have weekly virtual office hours, we have video conferencing, we also have a forum support, a question and answer forum, how all these pieces fit together to give you an amazing experience. And then last, I want to answer this question that I usually get, which is like, hey Marco, what can I actually do once I graduate besides having my own application launched, besides landing a job as a web developer? Like, what technical abilities do I have? So I want to answer that in one short sentence. Now, afterwards, I obviously have some time to answer all you guys' questions. So I already received a whole bunch of emails with questions, and I'm going to go through them step by step. If you have any questions, then just either email me or go to the Google Plus page and put your question in the little text box, and I go through and answer them. Either way works, email or the Google Plus page. Make sure you put those questions in early, because the way this works, I'm about 2 minutes ahead of you guys. So put in your questions as soon as they come up, and I'm happy to answer them at the end. Okay, let's jump in. How does the whole Firehouse Project program work? So first thing we have is, right, we have you guys all go through our preparation course. It's about a 2-week course. We're giving that to you free. A lot of you guys who are watching right now are already on that, and you guys going through the coding challenges, and we're doing the code review with you guys. But for everyone else, it's a 2-week course, teaches you HTML, CSS, you build a simple website, and you put it on a server, and then we're teaching you Ruby coding skills, the terminal. You actually set up a web development environment on your computer, and you actually learn how to write complicated scripts in Ruby, and those are the same kind of challenges that usually screen out about 9 out of 10 programming applicants for jobs. So learning that, how to solve that in the pre-work is really challenging, and it's really important and valuable if you're an entrepreneur or if you're a career switcher. Once you've gone through the pre-work, those 2 weeks, we accept you into the core program. We have a bunch of coding challenges in there. We review all your code, and we give you the thumbs up. You're in the core program. That's a 13-week-long program, right? So all in all, you're getting 15 weeks. What happens in there is, in the first about 10 hours, we build a simple Rails web application with you. And it's a pretty, when I say simple, it's pretty simple because it just stores a sentence, a quote in a database, and we randomly display that quote on the website. Obviously, we wrap that into a mobile-first design, so it looks good on desktop, tablet, or your iPhone, Android phone. And the goal is always, right, when you're at a party and you pull out your phone, anything you built with us, the response that you should get from your friends when you show the web applications that you built is always like, oh, wow, you built this? That looks awesome. That's what we're always shooting for. That's why we're going with the mobile-first design approach, so it looks good on all devices, right? But that simple web application that you build in the first 10 hours with us, that actually gives you this 360-degree view over all the technologies that we're going to use throughout the entirety of the course. So you're going to learn how to write more Ruby code. You're going to learn how to use the Rails framework. You're going to learn how to use Git for version control, GitHub, your Heroku server. We actually pushed it out live. You're going to learn how to make things look good on mobile devices. That's what we do in the first 10 hours. Simple web application. Then we're going to put the learning curve as even steeper. Next web application that we're building is a Yelp clone. Now, that's obviously more challenging than just storing quotes in a database and pulling that out. And I think the most important feature for our Yelp clone is actually the ability to connect to the Google Map API. So what does that mean? So we need to write the Ruby code to when, let's say, I have a pizza place and I set up a place on our Yelp clone, we call it the Nom Nom Lobster. I set up my pizza place there. I'm typing in my address into a form, save that to my pizza place, that address. Rewriting the Ruby code to translate that address into longitude and latitude coordinates, pass those back into the Google Map API, and then we get that pin on the map. Obviously, that wouldn't be just like a fully functional web application. That'd be just one piece of it. That's just one feature. The next thing we're doing is we obviously want ratings, right? Star ratings and user comments. So building that feature out. And now, since we have that, it would make sense to integrate with another API, which is called the SendGrid API, so we can send automated email notifications when somebody leaves a comment. So if I have a pizza place and you come to my place on the Yelp clone and you say, hey, 5 stars, awesome pizza from Marco's cool pizza place, I get an automated email notification saying, hey, somebody just left a comment. You may as well want to check that in. So a standard feature that's really important to get user engagement up. And so the next thing we're building on that is a dashboard for all the owners. So I have a dashboard where I see standard analytics, I see the summaries of all the comments, I see all my places, all my ratings. So we have that as well. Obviously, we need to have user login, logout registration in that as well. That usually takes our students about, I'd say, 3 to 4 weeks to getting that done. Next, we have a web application where we teach you test-driven development. For everyone who doesn't know what software tests are, these are basically tests that we run automatically to check if all the features of a web application still work without manually clicking through. It's industry standard, and test-driven development of that is basically turning it around where we first write the tests before we build the feature. I could talk a whole hour on why this is so important, but for now, just trust me, that is crucial if you're an entrepreneur to make sure your web application is always working, or if you're seeking a job, because it's the bread and butter of any professional web developer out there. So we teach you how to do test-driven development by actually building a web application with that test-driven development mindset starting in week 4 or 5. Next up, we build a Udemy clone. So an online learning platform, video learning platform. That means that, first of all, when I say platform, right, it's a lot more complicated because we have different user roles. So that means we have students signing up for our platform, like registering for an account, and we have instructors on the other side. Now, instructors are creating courses, and students sign up and buy courses, right? So when I say buy, it's already like, oh, wow, I can actually build the feature to accept credit card payments on my application. Yes, we're doing that. We're integrating with the Stripe API, where we actually can accept payments and transfer money through our platform. And you actually can decide how much a course would cost, or an instructor can do that. But the more important feature even is tracking those relationships between who's the instructor and who are the students signing up for those courses on a database level. And if you're thinking about it, those relationships, those database relationships, that's what powers a lot of web applications out there. Thinking about Facebook, who uploaded the picture, who gets the notification, who liked it, who added a comment. All of that is very similar to what we do. It's like, oh, there's a student who signed up for a course. Now that student gets to see everything. Another student only gets to see the overview without access to the full courses. Those database relationships are crucial to building anything that is more advanced. So you're learning that in week, I say 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe, in that time frame. Then next, what we're gonna do is we split you guys up into 2 different tracks. So there's the entrepreneurs who want to learn how to launch their own web applications. And then in the other camp, we have the job seekers, people who want to land a technical job, junior web developer jobs, software engineering jobs at technical companies. Big companies, startups, whatever goes. We train you for that. So let's focus first on the job seekers. What we're going to do is we're going to put you on a group project where you actually learn how to work together with a group of developers. And why are we doing this? It's because in the real world, the best software is written by amazing teams, right? The best product is built by great teams. Knowing how to work together as a team is absolutely crucial to be a high impact employee from day one. If you don't know how to work together as a team and use tools like GitHub in that advanced mode, or work together, critique your code, show other people the code, know how to write the code and know how to write that's again, software tests so other people can look at that. You starting out as a significant disadvantage to somebody who knows how to do that. So for the last 4 weeks, we put you on a group project. During that group project, what we're going to build is a chess game. Now, some people usually come to me and say, like, a chess game. Come on, Mark, that's not interesting. That's not exciting. Can't we build something cool like a Facebook thing or Twitter or Instagram? And I'm telling you, if we want to land a job, we need to build something more advanced than Facebook or Twitter, because at the core of those, they're not that exciting for technical hiring managers. But a chess game, if you're thinking about it, there's so many figures, and we need to track, again, on a database level, how all these figures are moving. The queen, the logic for just the queen, how can it move across the field? How a chessboard, how can we validate that the moves are accurate? How do we keep track which figures got kicked out by which figure? And then how do we keep track which player's moves it is? Black player, white player. It's really challenging doing that and writing all that logic. On top of that, we need to make sure we have all our software tests written. And believe it or not, all of our graduates take the code during the chess game and talk about that in their technical interview to land their jobs. And it completely changes the interview dynamic for jobs that they want, because the interviewers can see, wow, this is advanced code. And you work on a group project, you work together with other people. They can see line by line the quality of the code, as well as how they discuss that code with other team members. So usually, people get asked, like, for example, one of our graduates out in LA get asked, well, how would you build a chess game in a technical interview? And he was like, well, funny you should ask. I just built one with a team. Here's my code. He opened his computer and ran him through line by line what kind of code he submitted and which other code he reviewed for other teammates. So that changed the entire dynamic. So that quality of the code is a huge advantage for you to actually land a job as a web developer. Now, switching over to the entrepreneurs, right? If your goal is to build and launch your own web application idea, what we're going to do with you is, after you completed the first 8 weeks and you have that rich foundation of web application development skills, we're going to break down your application with wireframe every single screen out that you want to build, break it into individual features, and break those features into individual coding blocks. And then we start implementing one feature after another until we have your web application idea live launched, and we have 4 weeks to build that at the very end. That's the core program. The other thing that goes into that is teaching you algorithms. So we start that in week 2 with all of our students, where we run you through real-world algorithms and coding challenges, so you learn how to write really good Ruby code. And that's important for both parties, the job seekers and entrepreneurs. Because if you want to build an advanced web application like a chess game, or you want to build something that is more interesting than just like a forum that saves something to the database and displays it someplace else, like a Yelp clone, you need to know how to write really good Ruby code, and you need to know how to actually implement algorithms inside your application. That advanced logic is really important to build something that actually attracts users or gets you jobs, because that's what you'll be doing every single day. So the coding challenges that we have are from places like PayPal, eBay, Yahoo, Flickr. These are real-world examples that our mentors are using to evaluate candidates every single day, or use to build advanced web applications. That's the core program, the full 13 weeks of the program, plus the 2-week pre-work, right? Think about building 4 web applications going through the first 8 weeks, and either building your own one, or building as an entrepreneur, or building as the group project, the chess game. Next up is, let's talk a little bit about the support system, right? There's obviously one-on-one mentorship sessions, there's obviously the office hours, and there's a Q&A support forum. What I usually want to start out is the Q&A forum. And then people usually tell me, come on, Marco, like, that's not exciting as a forum. I put in a question, but it's not about the forum. It's what the forum enables us to do, right? So the forum is, imagine Thursday night you're coding, you run into some trouble, and you're like, oh man, I'm stuck, I'm spinning my wheels, I don't know what to do because I have this weird error message. Take a screenshot of the error message, paste it in the forum. Within an hour or two, you get help and you get unstuck, so you can keep going, right? Oftentimes that means, hey, on line 5, you're missing a comma. On line 37, if you add an equal sign after the percentage sign, you should be good to go, and your error should be disappearing, or your quote should show up, or your Google Map API integration should work now. That enables us, so when we come to the mentorship session, right, when you meet with your mentor one-on-one, you don't have to come and use that mentorship session for troubleshooting, for error message, for typos, for missing commas, semicolons, missing equal signs. We take care of that in a forum. So when you come to your mentorship session, we can work on improving your skills on the algorithmic side. You're working on more test-driven development, right? building that additional feature on top of your existing features if you're an entrepreneur. We can prep you for the interview process by actually going through a mock interview. Doing that, using a forum frees us up to use that mentorship session for the maximum impact. So after each mentorship session, you're like, oh wow, my coding skill was here, now it's up there. And that 1 hour works if you come in error-free. And obviously we have the weekly office hours. And I personally love the office hours, right? That's a time when all of our students come together in a video conferencing, video chat, so we can all see each other. And we ask questions, right? So there might be people who are in week 8 or 9, they're on the group project already, and they ask a question. And if you just started the program, you go through and you're like, wow, this is advanced code. I don't quite understand what they do, but I can see the path where this is going. And that's really helpful, seeing how we're debugging their code, how we're helping them out, how we explain how the different pieces of a web application all fit together. On the other hand, if you're an advanced student who's further down the line in the program, and there's somebody who just started in week 1 or 2, and that person asks a question, right? You oftentimes go like, oh wow, I had that same problem, and you can help that student answer that question. And that not only makes you feel really good, but it's also a valuable teach-back moment where your own learning solidifies a different way by teaching somebody else. That's why I love office hours, because it brings all the community together. Okay, guys, that was the support system, right? We had the Q&A forum that enables us to come error-free to the mentorship session and use those for maximum impact. And then we have the weekly office hours where you come together. Also, if you're on a group project for the last 4 weeks, you have a weekly 1 hour check-in with your group and another mentor. So you get that additional hour on top of that. So then you're plenty busy with meetings between your mentorship session, your group, your office hours, and your group project technical meetings once a week. Okay, then the last thing I want to say is like the question that I asked in the beginning. What can I actually do after graduating from the Firehose project? And that's usually a question where it's like, yeah, of course you can launch your own web application idea and you can get a job with it. At the end of the day, you can create, right? If you have an idea, you can spend a weekend or spend a few days, program the application, launch it, push it live, and share it with your friends and family, share it with users, and have that live on the internet. All right, guys, so that was pretty much the info session. I want to touch our core curriculum, how the pre-work works, how our core curriculum works, how we split it up for entrepreneurs and job seekers, why the group project is so important, and then talk a little bit about the support system, right? Forum, office hours, and the one-on-one mentorship sessions. So now let me jump in and look at a few of you guys' questions. So if you guys have any more questions, send them my way. Again, email me. You guys should all have my email, or use the Google Plus page and use that little comment box and put it in there. So I'm gonna go jump in quickly right now and jump in. Okay, so Vu just asked a great question. Will I learn also CS, like computer science fundamentals, like data structures and algorithms? Vu, I think I already answered that in an email, but super good question. So I'm more than happy to answer that in the info session as well. Absolutely, right? We're starting with that in week 2. Going into algorithms and data structures, you really need to work on those and know that. So just to give you a quick overview, right? We're talking about multidimensional arrays. We're talking about linked lists, traversing a tree. We're talking about binary structures. Really important concepts that you need to grasp to build advanced web applications. And you will apply all these concepts either when you build your own MVP out or when you work together on a group project, right? So really good question, and yes, we do that. Data structures and algorithms is a really core component of what the Firehose project is all about. So great question, Boo. I'm glad you asked it. All right, let's see. I think I got a bunch of emails with questions as well. Okay, so somebody asked, yeah, that's a great question. What's the application process, right? So I mentioned that before. We do have the pre-work, 2-week pre-work, and we give that away free right now. You can just sign up. So if you go to theFirehoseProject.com, if you haven't signed up, applied already, go to the top nav, you say bootcamp pre-work, click on that, fill out the application process. Do me a favor, take 2 minutes to really fill it out and write in your coding goals and your coding background, because really look at every single application before we set up your pre-work account. And then we have you code through, and you send us, I think there's 4 coding challenges right now that you have to go through. We code review every single one, and we give you actually advice on how to make your code better and then progress to the next one. So you're actually learning a lot already in how to write really good Ruby code, and you get help from one-on-one. I review a lot of code, other mentors review some code, and we check in with you regularly. And then when you pass all these coding challenges, we officially give you the thumbs up and accept you in the full program, and then we can figure out the best starting day. We usually start students on every Monday. So if you finish it on Wednesday, we can start you immediately next Monday, or maybe the week after if we're already full. That's the application process. So great question on that. Let's see, I have another question here. Oh, okay. Noah asked me, for the Enterpreneur track, will it be possible to go fairly deep into jQuery and Ajax so the user can interact with the app, modify the database from a single page? Absolutely. So one thing we actually have that didn't mention, during the online learning platform, there's a full section that we dedicate to JavaScript, Ajax requests, so that we can actually, without reloading the page, we can change things in the database. So what we're doing there is let's zoom back, right? So we're now talking about an online learning platform where we have instructors on one side and students on the other side. One thing we want to do for the instructors, we want to improve the user interface. So the user interface we can improve by actually, when they organize their lesson structures, we build a drag and drop interface from scratch. And doing that means we need to learn JavaScript, and we need to know how to use jQuery, and then have Ajax so we can do database requests without reloading the page and refreshing the page. So definitely you'll learn how to do that right then and there, and so you can then, as an entrepreneur, use those to have use those skills to make a better user experience on your own application. So definitely we have that already packed in, and then on top of that, you can also work with your mentor one-on-one to build additional features out with that. So great question, Noah. Cool. So let's see what else we have. I think I have a few more questions right over here. Oh, how are the materials presented? Yeah, that's always a great question. So the materials are presented in several different ways. So there's written guides, there's videos, and there's live material, live instruction, right? So let's talk about the written materials. So all our guides are written. The reason why that is twofold. First is, if you're coding in the real world, right, this whole program is to make you a self-sufficient developer and prepare you for the real world and actually give you the real world right in this program. In the real world, every coding documentations for APIs, for open source, is all written format. The sooner you know how to read written documentation to build anything, the better you're off in the real world using somebody else's code and pulling it into your own application. Our written guides are really detailed step-by-step instructions, and that means hundreds of students went through these guides, so we really refine them. We're actually shipping out updates every single week to improve our guides. So going through that will teach you how to build a web application the same way of how you would read documentation for developers in the real world. The other thing that does, the written guides are so much faster to search and give you that rich reference material that you need when you come back. So a lot of our students that graduated and they're in jobs as web developers, oftentimes come back to our platform, and we actually see that and they tell us that, and they quickly look up, oh man, how did I do this SendGrid API integration again to send out automated email notification messages? They come back, look at that one line of code, do a quick search, and then they go back and they implement that in code. If you were having a video, you would search for that one time where I explain that in the videos for a long time. So that's not good, right? Written guides is really the way to go for those two reasons: real world applicability, and then also the quick and finding of the pieces that you need when you come back to the platform. The other thing that we have is videos. So these are overview videos, right? These are videos we have for test-driven development, how all the pieces of a web application fit together, like model view controller, routes, HTTP requests, how inheritance and object-oriented programming works. So some of the computer science fundamentals that you guys really need. We give you those videos at the moment when you need them, right? So there comes a certain point where you say, like, I'm done with this. We do a code review, and then our mentors are going to be like, okay, watch this hour section of videos, like individual small video chunks. Watch those, because it will tell you how all the pieces of a web application fit together before we start coding on the next one. So there's the videos, and there's obviously the live instruction, right? When you meet with your mentor, it's one-on-one in a Google Hangout like this, where you can both see each other, and you guys can work and pair program and actually go through and write code together and build features or improve algorithms, write more tests, whatever you guys need at that point in time. So great question. Okay, let me keep through. Why is the group project so important? Okay, I mentioned that before. The group project is so important because for everyone who wants to work on a web development team, on day one, you will work on a group, will work with a team. If you don't know how that whole process works, you basically need to be taught how to walk as a developer. You don't want to be that person. You want to be the person who can already demonstrate in an interview, yeah, I worked on plenty of projects before, and here's proof how I work together with teams and how I review code, how I improve my code, how I react to feedback, and which obstacles I've overcome already by working together with a team. Because coding by yourself is a lot different than coding as a team. And in the real world, as I said before, the best products are built by amazing teams. You want to be part of an amazing team? To do that, you need to know how to work as a team. So, great question. Let's see what else we got. I have some questions for Megan. Those are good ones. Okay, what kind of benefits do you think that having a mentor brings to the table versus self-study? I can't overstate how important it is to have a mentor, and not just an instructor. For example, in-person coding bootcamps will have an instructor and 30 students, right? So there's like a multifaceted question. So if you're talking about in-person coding bootcamps, I'm instructor, 30 people in front of me, right? I've done that plenty. Like me and my co-founder, we taught at Harvard Business School multiple times, Carnegie Mellon, Brown, RISD. We flew out to Hawaii. We taught at Boston University, the entire IT staff. We've done that a lot. The problem with that is that all the students are competing with the instruction time. If I'm sitting down with just you, one-on-one, it's really like I can really drill down what matters most to you. What challenge do you have right now? If there's 30 students, you may get 1 or 2 questions in and I quickly help you right after the class is over, but we're not going as deep into what you really need. If you have your own mentor, that's a person that will take you under your wing and make sure you're actually progressing at the perfect speed and you get the help when you need it for what you need the most. So that way we can identify like, okay, maybe algorithms is something that you need more help, and we can focus intently on that. It doesn't matter what the rest of the class needs right now, like you would do in an in-person bootcamp. If everyone understands the algorithm except you, the class would move on. You'd be left behind. You don't want to be in that spot. That's why mentors are so important, because every single mentorship session, we see that time and time again, your coding skills will get pushed up to the next level, and so many things just start clicking together because somebody is drilling down in what really matters to you. Great question, Megan. Okay, there's another one. I think you had 3 questions. Oh man, lots of questions from Megan. Let's go. Your program features a student-selected project that it will work with them on developing. Okay, so that is the Capstone project in the last 4 weeks. Now, your question is this something that you need to have, that idea you need to have before the program, or something that you discovered during the time that you're learning? So first of all, there's 2 different tracks, right? Entrepreneurs, on this side, they're gonna build their own application, right? Career switchers, if you have that goal, if you want to land a job as a web developer, we put you on a group project and build an advanced web application together with the team. Now, if you're on an entrepreneur track, Megan, then you can pick your idea whenever you want, right? So that you don't have to wait. You don't have to have that idea before you start the program. You can figure that idea out while you go through the program, and you just need to let us know, like in week maybe 4, 5, 6. We can figure out and nail that down, what you really want to build. And that can obviously change. It's a great question. Okay, Megan has another question. Okay, how to market yourself, and then how to find a job, right? Is that challenging, especially if you don't have a computer science degree? We had plenty of students, right? We had like Angel out in LA, he didn't even have a university degree. He was working as a car salesman on a parking lot, and he came to us, and now he works as a developer for a really amazing startup out in LA, right? So he didn't even have a bachelor in anything. He just had a high school degree. He learned how to code, and now he works as a developer. So it wasn't just like, I don't have a computer science degree. I don't even have any degree, right? Or then Erin out in New York, she works now for Artsy, and I think we just featured her as one of our graduates on our blog. So go to blog.thefirehoseproject.com and check her out as well. There's interviews. I interviewed her and talked with her about for an hour, and we give you the best snippets, the highlights of our talk on that blog post. So look at that too, right? She was a receptionist. I think she had an arts history degree, but definitely not a computer science degree. And now she works for Artsy on the Art Genome Project. And Artsy is a company, if you don't know, I think they raised like 18 million in venture funding just the last year. It's really interesting what those guys are doing. And she works there on a technical team, which is awesome. So you don't need to have a computer science degree. What will set you apart is, if you're looking for a job, Megan, is that you have that group project and you have that code that you wrote together as a team that you can share with the technical hiring managers, because that code will impress them. And we know that because we get told by countless companies like, wow, this is pretty amazing code. I haven't seen that high code quality from a lot of our applicants. That's what makes you stand out. Cool, great question, Megan. Okay, we have a few other ones, I think. Oh, what is the difference between us and competitors, right? Okay, there's other online coding bootcamps out there, right? So obviously, what's the difference? I always say there's 2 or 3 main differences, right? The first is the depth of the curriculum. If you come into us, you're building multiple web applications that are actually really challenging and they build on top of each other. But you're also getting the test-driven development, which is industry standard. You can't go without it. And you're getting the algorithm and the computer science fundamentals. That depth of curriculum and the quality of the curriculum is why so many students leave other coding bootcamps, online coding bootcamps, and come to us. And we see that time and time again, and they're surprised. We have multiple people that came, for example, from Block. They're in our coding bootcamp. They went to Block for like multiple weeks, and it says, wow, I learned more with you guys in the first week that I learned with Block, and like one was there for 10 weeks. And he can't believe the opportunity that he left out not going with us immediately. So the quality of the curriculum and the depth of the curriculum is just 10x bigger than any of the competitors. So that alone should convey you. Now, we also have a group project that the other online coding bootcamps don't have. So having that group project is just absolutely key if you want a job. And so getting that is really, really important. If you're an entrepreneur, it's also really important, because as soon as your application gets traction, you're going to need help from other people. Knowing how to work with them is key. So if you're an entrepreneur, obviously having exposure to a group project is always a huge asset, and having that combination of entrepreneurs and people who work on group project is super good, because you want to be exactly in that sweet spot of knowing both things. The last thing is the quality of our mentors, right? They're senior developers with experience from like PayPal, Bitly, Flickr. They have TechCrunch articles written about them. They're working for startups like Product Hunt. They're working for really successful bigger companies, like I said, PayPal, eBay, Yahoo, like Bitly, Flickr. These are people with years of experience, and getting them as your mentor is just a tremendous asset that you have going through our program. Great question. Okay, cool. So let's see if I have any other questions coming up. All right, there's a few more on the Google+. Tim asks me, do you have partnerships with any employers that commonly seek graduates? We have our students go from yesterday, had students starting in Australia, Vietnam, and the US, right? So building partnerships with companies all over the world is really hard, because our students really go from Australia all the way to LA, right? Also people in Hawaii. So it's really hard for us to establish those partnerships. We do have several on the East Coast here, New York, definitely our graduates, obviously, like on the West Coast, there's multiple graduates there that can help, right? There's people here in Boston that work for tech companies. They're like, we want need more people from the Boston area. So there's definitely a network in the community of our students. So helping you with that shouldn't be a problem at all. But now if you live someplace that is where we don't have a strong network, then it's obviously harder for us. But Tim, we can always figure that out and see how we can help you with that. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. And we definitely don't force you to take any jobs from our in-network companies, what I hear a lot of other coding bootcamps are doing. Ask, are Ken and you among the available mentors in the program? It always depends if we have time, right? So actually, there's like, we have a lot of mentors, and I always think the other mentors are way better than us. So we only hire people who are way better than us. So if you think we're good, you should wait till you see the other mentors. They will blow your mind. So we're available, but at the same time, there's a lot of really good other mentors that we let in. So great question, Rue. Let's see if we have anyone else. And thanks, I was like, nice thing to hear on your birthday. Are you available as my mentor? So thanks, you just made my day, Rue. Let's see if I got another question. I think that is pretty much it. Megan, I think I answered all your questions. If not, guys, if you have any other questions, right, send me an email. You guys all have my email. I'm happy to answer them after the fact. I'm going to be around for a little bit more. If you come up with a question, I answer them now. Other than that, this was super fun. Thanks so much for coming, making my birthday special. Thumbs up to you guys, and I'll see you around. Make sure you apply for the pre-work, and we get to review your code really soon. We get to teach you something. Stay awesome, and until next time.